Welcome to the Bariatric Nutrition Coach podcast, where we empower you with weight loss surgery, nutrition knowledge, mindset advice, and inspiration so you succeed in your weight and health journey. I'm your host, Jane Stoltz, and I am a bariatric dietitian who has helped over 1,300 people on their weight loss surgery journeys. I'm also a solo mum, lover of long walks while listening to podcasts, partial to a glass of wine, and the ocean is my happy place. Join me as I dive deep into bariatric nutrition and lifestyle topics and deliver them to you in bite-sized, palatable episodes every Monday. Now let's go. Do you struggle with reaching your protein goals every day? Well, you're not alone. It's actually really common to struggle eating enough protein after your weight loss surgery, particularly in the early to medium days. Not only is your stomach, your tummy or your pouch small, but also you have the metabolic changes after having weight loss surgery where you don't have that same appetite. And that's a challenge in the early to medium days because not only do you have the restriction, you don't have the appetite, and protein is actually a high satiety nutrient. It makes you fuller sooner with a smaller amount of food. So that can make it really challenging to reach your protein intake, along with the need to eat regularly through the day. And that's such a new thing for many people. And many people's jobs make it more challenging, or lifestyles make it more challenging. And in the early to medium days, I work a lot with my clients about drinking some of their protein. Not most of it, but some of it, because drinking your protein is a lot easier than eating it. We can easily drink more protein than eat it. And that is definitely a strategy we use. But today, I wanted to talk about 3 simple ways to build more protein into your day. And as I go through these simple ways to add more protein into your day, I'm going to give you examples, and you can assess those examples and decide if they could be useful to you in your diet at your stage after your weight loss surgery, and also in line with your food preferences. So the first simple way to build more protein into your diet, into your day, is to fortify your meals. And that is a dietitian term, but I'm going to explain exactly what I mean. Fortifying your foods or meals is actually about adding in small volumes of other high protein ingredients that can boost the protein content of that meal or snack without increasing the volume of that meal or snack significantly. And I'm going to give you examples of what that can look like. One example here can be to add a protein powder into your meal or snack. And I'll give you some examples what you can, do with a protein powder. There's a whole range of protein powders on the market. An unflavored protein powder can be really useful because you can add it into savory foods, and we can add protein powder into some mashed potato, you can add it into soups, you can add it with milk, mix it up, and then you've fortified that milk to be a high protein milk, and you can add it into overnight oats or cereals. You can add that milk into your scrambled eggs, and you're getting more protein per bite. Okay, so that's one idea, is to use an unflavored protein powder. Some people even like to use, say, a vanilla protein powder if they're putting it in with a cereal and they want some sweetness. So you can do that as well. Some other examples of fortifying your food is to add in some things like for your savoury foods that go well with cheese. You can choose high protein cheddar cheeses, ricottas, cottage cheeses, and add those into some of your foods to actually boost up the protein in those meals or snacks. If you've got a casserole type meal, you can add lentils, you can add beans, lentils, legumes, whatever you know them by, and they are lovely for adding more protein and actually more fibre as well into that meal and that can help increase the protein per bite. So there's lots of ways of fortifying your foods that make things extra palatable, but also more protein per bite. So that is tip or simple way number 1 to build more protein into your diet or your day. Tip or simple way number 2 is to follow my protein bites ratio. And if you continue to listen to this podcast, you will probably hear this many times. My protein bites ratio habit or guide is a way of eating that helps prioritize protein at each meal or snack. So it's very normal to be able to eat more on some days than others and eat more at some meals than others. But when we follow this protein bites ratio, you are going to be optimizing your protein intake for that meal on that day. So under 1 year after surgery, I recommend a protein bites ratio of 3 bites of protein to 1 of other. And what I mean by that is 3 bites of protein food, lean protein such as seafood, pork, chicken, low-fat cheese, scallops, tofu, all of those high protein foods for every 1 bite of other. And other, I consider whole grains, vegetables and fruit. So we plate up and we eat in that 3 bites of protein to 1 bite of other, and we're going to optimize the protein intake at each meal. After 1 year from surgery, roughly, we can move to a 2 to 1 bites of protein to other, because you can naturally eat more in time after your surgery. And you can comfortably eat your protein, great, we're reaching our goals, great, we can get more of that other food in, and the other food gives us wonderful nutrients and fibre and crunch and all those other lovely things for our diet. So 3 to 1 or 2 to 1. So that is tip or simple way number 2 to help you build more protein into your day. And number 3 is to choose higher protein versions of your food choices. And I'm going to go through some examples. This is something that I educate my clients on, because when you know how to read a label and choose a higher protein version of a food, and you make several changes in your food choices, when you go shopping and when you choose your foods, it will culminate to you eating more protein in your day, because it really leads also into that first tip or simple way, is to have every bite of food you are actually eating more, getting more protein. So let's talk about some examples of this, about choosing higher protein versions of a food. Yogurt, for example, there are higher protein yogurts on the market, and there are some very good ones now on the market that are still low in sugar, low in fat, and higher in protein, and are getting better. Choosing a high protein version of cheddar cheese or cottage cheese or ricotta cheese is also a wonderful option. When we're looking at cereals, we can choose a higher protein version of cereals that are still in line with good levels of saturated fats, sugars, and salt, but have some more protein in them, so you can get a bit more protein into your cereal. There are also higher protein pastas on the market that are coming from different sources, so not just a wheat-based pasta, but different sources such as legumes that are higher in protein, and they are wonderful options to look at. You can also get higher protein milks. There are some wonderful high protein milks on the market. They do vary in different countries and in different parts of the world, but definitely look out for some high protein milks. If you are in the weight loss phase after your bariatric surgery, well, listen up, as I have a wonderful resource you are going to love. And yes, it's free. It's called Supercharge Your Weight Loss Success Starter Kit. It's a 3-day mini course where I take you through the steps to supercharge your weight loss. You will become clear on what habits are taking you out of your weight loss zone and which are the key habits you personally need to foster to move back into where you want to be. Yes, to losing weight. Sound good? If yes, grab this free resource. The link is in the show notes. Now, I want to make another point or a special point in this area, and it's something I'm actually really passionate about. I have noticed that discretionary foods being labelled as high protein ice cream, high protein Snickers bar, high protein chocolate. I am not advocating to choose higher protein versions of discretionary food. I recommend you have a small portion of the real stuff and you enjoy it. Don't waste your money or feel that you're doing the right thing by choosing a high protein discretionary food. It is purely marketing. So let me do a recap of 3 simple ways to build more protein into your day or your diet. 1 is to fortify your foods, adding high protein powders or foods into your meal or snack to ensure you get a bit more protein in every bite. Number 2 is to follow my protein bites ratio to help you prioritize protein at every meal and snack. And number 3 is to choose higher protein versions of some of your staple foods to help you build that just bit more protein into your diet. I really hope you found value in today's episode. I hope it's given you some ideas. Thank you so much for listening. I would love you to subscribe to my podcast if you are finding value in my podcast, and you will get alerted when every new episode is released on a Monday. If you would like to leave me a review or rate the podcast, I would greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to being with you next week.